If you keep jumping between new business ideas and side hustles, or you're someone who hasn't even started yet because they don't know where to begin, but deep down you know that you're worth more than where you are right now, then you're in the right place. I've gone from being over $40,000 in debt and failing multiple businesses to making over 6 figures in the space of 9 months. I also spend a lot of time with people making millions of dollars a month, and I know a lot of people who couldn't even get close. In this video, I'm going to show you how making a 6 to 7 figure income online is actually simpler than most people make it out to be, and where most people fail before they even get started. I'm going to walk you through the exact thinking process that took me from working in a bar on minimum wage to making over $20,000 in a single month. No trends, no hacks. I'm also gonna walk you through the one crucial mistake that I made earlier on that stopped me from making the money that I wanted to make, and the one crucial shift that immediately changed the game for me, and it's going to for you too. Look, here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. People don't fail because making money is hard. They fail because they're constantly fighting an uphill battle that they don't have to. When I first started out trying to be successful, I was heading towards failure and I didn't even know. For most people, they never decide a direction that they want to go in. There's always some new trending business idea or side hustle that's coming across their Instagram feed. It was the same for me too. I always thought that every time I got stuck, the grass was going to be greener on the other side, and turns out it wasn't. As well as this, it's so easy to get drowned in advice. There are thousands of gurus for hundreds of different side hustles and business ideas that all have their own way of doing it, which work for them. And so what tends to happen is, like yourself and most people, you never actually find a way that specifically works for you. The amount of times that I switched strategies trying to find something that would work for me was actually insane, just because a new video popped up on my TikTok or Instagram. The reason why you're not moving forward is because there's so many people in your ear giving you different directions. When I first started trying to get out of my comfort zone and find some success, most people either didn't believe that I could do it, or they was telling me how I should do it when they had no idea themselves. But the biggest issue that I had, and you probably do too, is trying to be perfect and not fail. Trying to choose the perfect model and the perfect plan with a perfect outcome. All this did was stop me from actually making the progress that I actually wanted to make. On one of my first failed businesses, I spent a week designing a logo, a website design, and a brand name before I even knew if this business was gonna work or I could sell any of the products that I was trying to sell. I mean, look, if you haven't started yet, maybe you're thinking of starting, maybe you've already started and quit multiple times, and the thought of, hey, maybe I'm not meant to make it, what came to my mind quite a few times earlier on, it's probably just because everything feels a lot heavier than it should be. First of all, let's talk about why most people and you get stuck. When I look back at all the times that I failed and why things didn't really move as fast as I wanted them to, it wasn't from a lack of effort. Most people will tell you that you need to try again to find success. But the truth is, you don't fail until you quit. One of the 3 things that I noticed really early on, and one of the main obstacles that I used to consistently come across, was jumping between different business models way too early on. Of course, not everything is gonna pan out every time, and it is important to know when to pivot. But the trap is, as soon as something isn't really working out as well as you thought it would be, you immediately switch to the next new shiny thing. What this causes is, instead of you being proficient in that one thing, you're constantly skipping between different skill sets and you never actually manage to master any of them. And unfortunately, this cycle gets repeated and repeated over and over again until you completely give up altogether. I know this because that happened to me. The second of those things was over-optimizing way too early. Now, what I mean by this is when I gave the example earlier on in the video where I spent an entire week designing color schemes and brands and logos and websites, all for a business where I sold nothing from. Answering the question of, can I make the money I want to make first before how pretty can I make this webpage? Put your effort into focusing on how can I make these ideas work, and then you can focus on how can I make this better once you've got that proof of concept. Third, which is probably the most important thing for me, was the feeling of uncertainty. It is so easy to change direction when you're unsure of the road in front of you. Nobody has all the answers, but what tends to happen, and something that I experienced and happened to me, was when that feeling of not knowing comes about, the default action is to think, well, maybe this isn't for me, what else can I do instead? The best thing about it, and what took me so many attempts to learn, is that it's not about what the new best thing is, it's that getting past that level of uncertainty with what you're doing right now is actually when you start to see the result, and it's only uphill from there. I used to do this, and I've seen people do this for years, staying busy, constantly learning, but never actually seen any progress. If you feel like you're constantly preparing, researching, or trying things out, you need to ask yourself, are you avoiding commitment, or are you really just avoiding failure? And here's the part that most people miss. Business hopping, switching directions, thinking about starting, not starting at all. These are all the same things. They come from the same place. What I had to learn the hard way is that I was never going to make the money that I wanted to make or find the success that I wanted if I didn't understand these key principles. One of those, which I noticed was really holding me back, was too many choices. I wasted at least 6 months trying to find the perfect business model that was for me. A business model that I thought I was gonna make the most money from. When the harsh truth is, any one of the business models that I tried would have worked out for me if I would have stuck with it long enough. And funnily enough, that led to the second thing that I realized, which was picking the wrong thing and then the fear of being stuck doing it. Most business models work because they've worked for someone, right? But that doesn't mean it's gonna work for you, but it also doesn't mean that it can't. You need to make sure that you don't get caught up thinking, is this gonna be a perfect thing for me? Am I going to really enjoy this? The whole point is that you don't enjoy where your life is right now, and so you need something that you can implement and take action on that you're going to get results from. When I first started doing $10, $15, $20,000 a month, I didn't overly enjoy what I was doing at the moment, but I really enjoyed how my life changed and the capabilities of what I was able to do once I was making that money. That's where the fun is. That pressure alone is enough to store people for years. Think about this. How many people in your life in their 30s, 40s, 50s are sat there with regret because they never achieved what they wanted to, but it's because they never started? Right now, what I want you to do is stop asking yourself, what's the perfect business model for me? And ask yourself, what's the simplest way for me to start gaining momentum now and being consistent with one thing and sticking with it? But truthfully, this is the one shift that just changed everything for me. At a certain point, I had to stop trying to be clever. And it's the same for you. You don't need more information. You don't need to do months more research. You don't need the perfect plan. What you need is fewer choices. And I had to make that mental shift and change the way that I saw success and trying to make money. And here's exactly how you can take those actions and apply it to your life now. The first thing is give yourself fewer options. I had to apply this to my own life because it really kills my momentum. Having too many options will be killing yours too. And I applied this to everything that I did day by day. Most people, and probably yourself, get stuck because of something they call decision paralysis. It's like when a kid walks into a sweet shop and there's chocolates and there's crisps and there's everything that you can think of, all the candy in the world, and they just don't know what to pick. There's just too many options. So they end up kicking and screaming and lose their mind because they don't know what to pick. That was me. And that's probably you too. The biggest thing that you can learn and apply to your life today is taking things one step at a time and one decision at a time. The second thing, an important part of this shift in mentality, is giving yourself longer time horizons. It took me a long time to come to terms with this. And it's that nothing's gonna happen overnight. I used to set the most unrealistic expectations of myself and what I was doing, and what that naturally led to was me not being able to meet them and then losing the consistency and motivation that I'd built up at the start. And it just led to me going back to business hopping and starting all over again. It's crazy how many people sabotage themselves just the way that I did by saying that they're gonna blow up on day 2, they're gonna make 10K in the first month, and then when it doesn't happen, they're done. They give up or move on to the next thing. The most important thing, and the one thing that will change everything for you, is showing up every single day. And so here, I'll give you an actionable framework which you can apply to your life today that is gonna help with everything that we've talked about in this video. I want you to focus on picking one direction. Look, this isn't forever, but it's long enough so that you can actually grow and find success in that thing. One business model, one method of acquisition, and one product. For example, you could pick dropshipping as your business model. You could pick TikTok organic ads as your method of client acquisition, and then you could maybe pick creatine gummies as the one product that you're gonna sell. But the most important thing is that you stick with it. You stay consistent, and that's when you're gonna see the results that you want. While you're pursuing this, put everything else out of your mind. No different business models, no different ways of finding clients. So you're running Facebook ads, or you're running YouTube ads, or maybe you're doing more organic content on Instagram. Find one way and stick with it and master how that works. And don't be trying to sell 50 different products because the first one didn't blow up in the first couple of days. Stick with one product and make it work. Finally, I want you to start judging things monthly and quarterly rather than emotionally. Start setting realistic timelines of goals and when you want to achieve them, rather than judging your success off emotion and how you feel. Review every month, see what went well, see what can be improved, see what didn't work, reassess, and then keep going and tweak the adjustments as needed. Sometimes one tweak could be the difference between success and you giving up and failing. I promise you, doing these 3 things alone will put you above 99% of the people that you're competing against. And that puts you in a pretty good category to find success. When you hit that 1% and you start thinking about numbers like 10K a month, 20K, 50K, even 100K a month, most people out there will tell you that you have to be lucky or that you have to be exceptional to make that type of money and see that level of success. It's not. It's about reducing the noise, reducing the friction, and making it as simple as possible to take action and make progress every single day. It's about having to make fewer decisions, limiting the options that you have, so it's a lot more simpler for you to take action and letting all that effort and all those ideas go into one thing so they can compound instead of constantly resetting, switching gears, and starting all over from scratch. When you stop fighting the process and the journey, the results are gonna stack a lot quicker than you expect. Before you pick up your phone or laptop and start, remember one thing: fewer distractions, less options. And to prove this to every single one of you watching this video, I am going to set out and build a brand new business and scale it from $0 to $100,000 per month to show you that it can be done. And you're gonna be along that journey with me the entire way. The ups, the downs, what's worked, what hasn't worked, so you can see that process for yourself. Now, watch this video right here where I'm going to break down exactly how I got started and where you guys can get started too.